So I've had my AR for a while now, and I've put a bunch of stuff on it. Had the Aimpoint Pro, and sometimes I use the 3X magnifier back here, not actually all that much, but when I get all this stuff piled on here, it is quite the heavy rifle, 8.1 pounds I think. Without the stuff, it's 6.8 pounds I think when I measured it. So I started thinking, you take this to a course, you carry it around all day, and it gets a little heavy. So what could I do to make that a little bit lighter? With this Aimpoint Pro, which is a great optic, it's big and it's heavy. So I thought, well, maybe there's some other options from Aimpoint that I could get that are a little bit smaller. So I started looking into it, and get this out of the way. The option that I came up with right here, another Aimpoint, picked it up from LaRue Tactical. Quick little unboxing as long as we have it. So the stuff LaRue sends you a couple little goodies. They send you a nice LaRue Tactical hat. Very nice. We have some bumper stickers. Extremely right wing, and God bless our troops, especially the snipers. Very nice. Might not put that on my car though. I have here Dillo Dust Dry Rub. LaRue is from Texas, and so they have sent you some food along. Rub it on meat and cook. Nice little touch from LaRue. 10th Annual International Sniper Competition, DVD. Take a look at that. Beverage entry tool. Useful for, getting into your beer or whatever else you want to get into with that. I am opening this for the first time here, so we'll see. So here is hopefully my answer to my heavy rifle problem. The Aimpoint Micro H-1. Let's have a look at some of the features of this Aimpoint Micro H-1. Now it's very similar to the Micro T-1. The big difference is that the T-1 has night vision modes and the H-1 does not. I never do night vision stuff, so I went with a little bit cheaper H-1 over the T-1. When this initially came out, it came out with a 4 MOA dot. There was some clamoring. I think people wanted smaller dot, and this is now, as you can see here, 2 MOA dot that they recently came out with. This thing is super lightweight, 84 grams for just the optic itself. Put it on a one of the mounts, about 105 grams, so almost, it's just super lightweight. And because of that, because of its lightweight and its size, you can mount it on a lot of things. Obviously, you can mount it on a rifle, but people will also mount this on handguns and bows and lots of different uses that you would not be able to put a larger optic on. Some of the construction of it over on this side, this is the battery cap here. The battery cap and turns it on and off. The battery is under here. The way you get to it is you take the tool that comes with it, you put it in here, and you can then twist that battery cap off and get to the battery. Battery has a life of 50,000 hours, which about 5 years, or actually if you do the math, 5.7 years. But the idea, I think, from what they claim, you leave it on a medium setting, it will stay on for about 5 years. You don't need to turn it off. They actually tell you to leave it on. I guess the idea is that, if you need it in some type of emergency, it's going to be on. I admittedly turned mine off probably between it when I remember to. But point being, you get a super long battery life out of this compared to some of the EOTechs that have much shorter battery lives. Big selling point for that on this. Comes on the mount, 2 different mounts. I went with the LaRue mount. Now you can get it as either a lower 1/3 or a full co-witness. And just to explain that, let me pull the cap off here just to show you the cap here. Rubber cap, they recommend that when you take it off, you pull it down here. That way it doesn't fall off and it will get kind of caught under there and it won't fall off the thing. Now co-witness, you lower 1/3 and a full co-witness. What that is that when you are looking through it, this being a full co-witness, if this pen is your backup iron sights, full co-witness, the iron sight is going to be right in the middle, right over the dot in the reticle. A lower 1/3, the mount and the optic are going to sit up higher, and therefore your iron sight is going to be down in the lower 1/3 of the window that you're looking at. Now it's very much a personal preference which you go with. There are people that will argue quite ferociously on both sides which is better. Some practical matters. It depends partially on how your cheek is, how you hold the rifle. Also, if you have a fixed backup iron sight and you don't want that being in the way of the dot all the time, I think that's where a lower 1/3 co-witness would pull that backup iron sight down out of the way. For me, I have the flip-up iron sights, and which they're admittedly usually down, so I don't really mind it. But again, it just depends on how you hold your rifle, what you like. It's very much personal preference. Neither is right, neither is wrong. Looking through the tube there, as long as we have it here, it's a 20mm tube. It's a little bit smaller, and I had some reservations about this smaller tube compared to the Aimpoint Pro that I had, but it's really not bad at all. I thought, is it going to be smaller? Am I going to be able to see through it? Am I going to be able to find things? But it's really not bad. And one of the advantages of this that Aimpoint points out is that because the tube itself is smaller, you have more field of view around it with your other eye, because the idea is that when you're using this type of scope, that you're supposed to leave both eyes open. You put the dot on the target with your right eye or left eye, whichever way you're shooting. Your other eye is open, also visualizing the target, and your mind will superimpose that dot over the target on both eyes. The settings here goes from 0 up to 12. Really, you don't get much until you get up around 7. I don't know if you can see much with the camera. But 6, 7 is probably where you start finally getting some useful stuff, at least in bright daylight. Don't look at that dot on the camera there. Avert your eyes, look at the wall, pet the dog, because that is way blown out of proportion by the camera. It's actually a nice, small, fine 2 MOA dot. The mount, this is the LaRue mount, and it is very well constructed. The way it works is this little piece right here. Take it off to loosen it, pull this piece back, and what that does is it pulls this little piece right here out of this little ridge, and you can then twist it open. The way it functions is that when the mount is closed, this here keeps it snug onto the rail. You put this little tab here between the rails. This holds it firm on there, and then when you open it up, that slides out of the way for easy removal. Windage and elevation. Elevation on the top, windage on the side. A couple ways that you adjust that. Inside here there are these 2 little holes, and on the top of the caps there are those 2 little nubs. You can take those nubs, put them into the holes, and twist it. Alternatively, the tool that comes with it has those little nubs sticking out there. You can put that in there and use it to twist it. One thing I do wish, just because occasionally when I haven't set this in a long time, I always have trouble remembering which is windage, which is elevation. It would be nice on some of the other ones. They have it marked up and down, right and left on them. On the inside of the cap here, they do have which direction it's going. So this is, counterclockwise is either up or to the right, depending on, which of these you're doing. The way I try and remember it is that the reticle will move in the direction of the adjustment you're doing. So the one that's on top here will make it move up towards it or push it away from it. The adjustment that's on the side will move it to the side towards it or to the other side away from it. Again, just the way I remember it might help you out, because once you get it set, it should be fine. You shouldn't have to worry about it. But if I hadn't set it for a while, I always had trouble remembering which was which, and that may help you. When you do the adjustments, one small note, it is a very fine amount of adjustment distance-wise. So one turn, one twist of that is a 1/2 inch at 100 yards, 1/4 inch at 50 yards. So when you're twisting it, you really have to go quite a distance to get it to really move any large distances. But that way you can really zoom it in, or that way you can really zero it in and get some nice fine adjustment to that. All right, let's look at how to mount this on the rifle. So you can see here I have my backup iron sights. This is where my 3X twist mount goes. And then you take this, open it up, put that on wherever you'd like, and then just spin this around, lock it in place. It locks very firmly in place. Push that forward, and there you have it mounted on the rifle. It is nice and small in there. Just to give you an idea what it looks like with the 3X magnifier. There you go. With the with this 1/3 co-witness, it actually seems to sit just a little bit below the magnifier, but looking through it, it lines up pretty well. And when you're going to take these off, you can just put them down here out of the way. They won't fall off. They won't get in the way. That way you won't lose them. It is nice on some of the other ones where they have the flip up and they're up and out of the way. You don't lose them, and then you just flip them back down, nice and easy. This is a little bit more cumbersome to get them on and off, but you know, not a huge deal in the end. Looking through it, when you've got the rifle, it is really not that big. And just to give you an idea of the co-witness, just to give you a little bit of an idea, that's how the co-witness is going to work. It's going to be roughly right in the middle with the full co-witness. Lower 1/3, it's going to be down a little bit. But that just gives you kind of a basic idea of how it is going to go. But you can see it is very small on the rifle. It is very lightweight, very comfortable, very easy to use. Price on it with the mount, $5.99, so it's not cheap, but it's great quality for what you get. And you actually get a deal when you buy it through LaRue, because that package deal with the mount, it saves you money. And you know, when you need to tactically break into your beverage, secretly bust into it, you get your beverage entry tool, sneak up on it, bust on into it, spice rub, some freebies, and just some great service from LaRue. So check it out, the Aimpoint Micro H-1.